So, I'm sure we're all aware that everyone has a name. Let's just assume that everyone has a name. Or at least everyone here. For me personally, my real name is Elias, but I'm generally addressed by a nickname. The most common of which is just Eli, which is what pretty much 90% of people call me. Knowing this has led to some interesting situations. One time, I was in my 7th grade digital photography class, and we had a substitute teacher. I had this class right after lunch, so naturally, I kinda needed to use the restroom. I waited a few minutes to make sure that he had taken roll, and I noticed that he had already gone into the relax, just let them do their thing, substitute teacher kinda mood. So, I assumed that he'd already taken roll. I think you'll start to notice a trend in my videos that most of them come from me making bad decisions. So I go to the bathroom, and by the time that I'd gotten back to class, I noticed that he still hadn't taken roll, so I went back to what I was doing, and the day went on. At the very end of the class period, I let my curiosity get the best of me, and went up and asked him if he had taken roll, and surprisingly, he said yes. So I asked him when he took it, and he said,
I took it at the very beginning of class. Is there a reason why you're asking?
I take a glance over at the attendance sheet, and I noticed that my name had been checked under absent. I pointed it out to him, and he said,
Oh, when I asked the students, they said there was no one with your name in the class.
It finally clicked for me what had happened after asking the person in the seat next to mine. Apparently, when he had called out my name, he had pronounced it as
Is there an E-ice in the classroom?
And since everyone knew me as Eli, nobody recognized me or spoke up. However, I've had many more nicknames than just Eli. Let's start with some of the nicknames my mom has given me. Noodle. I kid you not, one of my nicknames is Noodle. I think this one comes from the fact that my diet consists almost entirely of noodles, whether it be ramen noodles, spaghetti noodles, you name it. It also might come from the fact that my appearance vaguely represents a noodle, because I'm so skinny and tall. Another nickname I have that I think you might recognize is Lio. That's pretty much the entire backstory of my username. This one comes from my dad, and I'm really not sure how it came to be. My mom's variation of this one is Ebo, which I find even weirder. Something that probably deserves a video of its own is usernames. I've had a lot of them. That's all to that story. Here's a fun one. Pie Boy. Allow me to explain. So a few weeks ago, I entered in a pie day competition, something that will get its own video in around a year, wink wink, where all the students who entered had to recite as many dishes of pie as they possibly could. The winner, which just so happened to be me, got to pie the principal in the face. I became a school celebrity for the span of like 3 days, which was pretty awesome, and I got nicknames like Pie Boy and Hero, which is more of a classification than a nickname, but you get the point. This next one's really not a nickname, but I get called Levi a lot. Last semester, my school had a pastor come to my health class to lecture us on stuff like drugs and life choices, and to be honest, he was actually pretty cool. We started off the first lecture with a name game for him to get familiar with us, and he mistook my name for Levi. Before I had a chance to correct him, he said,
Levi's a really good pastor name.
And I kinda just sat there awkwardly, not really knowing what to say. Adding on to that, a few years ago I was walking through my school hallway, and I see one of my close friends who I was looking for because I needed to ask him a question. Anyway, I say hi and he says,
Oh hey, what's up, Levi?
Another nickname I have is Elbow. I think this one needs some backstory. Once upon a time, I was walking to school carrying a poster board in my hand. As my mom drove past, I attempted to wave at her, but my hands were full. So what was originally going to be a wave turned into me frantically waving my elbows at my mom. It's now officially become the ceremonial greeting whenever I see her drive by. Speaking of greetings, okay, I'll be honest, I don't have a transition. The first nickname I ever had was Chubby Bubby. My little sisters teased me about that one quite a bit. Speaking of names my sisters have teased me about, I was also called Pumpkinhead quite often, as my head looked quite a bit like a pumpkin. One time, my youngest sister slipped while climbing down the hill, and made me carry her all the way back to the house. I don't remember the exact remark she made at me, but for whatever reason, my dad, well, it was my mom, but got mad at her and said,
You shouldn't be saying stuff like that. Who was it who carried you all the way up the hill?
Pumpkinhead. Wait. Before you go, let me say a quick few things. First of all, I'd like to thank Liomations for joining me in this video. He's pretty cool. You should go check him out. Also, I'm going to be doing a Q&A for 100 subscribers, so leave your questions down in the comment section below, and I'll probably answer them, but maybe not, but I don't know. Okay, bye.